And welcome back. It's no surprise that mortgage regulations are getting tighter. And if you're going to buy a home in this down market or planning on refinancing your home, there are some really important changes that you need to be aware of. CPA Gary Opper of Levy Opper LLC is here joining us to tell us about those regulations. And Gary, is it really new regulations or just old ones that are now being enforced?
In a lot of cases, it's just old regulations that are now being enforced. A lot of the products, the exotic products that were no income, no assets, just stated income type products, they've gone away. So the core of the mortgage industry now has gone back to the basics, and they've gone back to what the regulations were, and now the regulations are being enforced, and the rules and underwriting and all the procedures that should have been in place are now being actually used.
So basically, what we were seeing in previous years is that tell me about the exotics. Basically, you could not have that money down and still buy a house,
right,
or not have proof of income, right? In
right.
Some cases.
What I liken it to is several years ago, in the last, up until 3 years ago, it was like going into a restaurant and just ordering off a menu. You just picked whatever kind of loan you wanted, and you were served it. Now I look at it as if it's an application. You're going for a job interview. So you really have to know what you're doing when you go for a job interview. When you're going for dinner, you just go out and go for dinner.
So is it difficult now to get a loan than it was 4 years ago?
Yes. Now you have to prove everything. There's no more no income, no asset loans. There's no stated loans. So you have to actually qualify. And you have to qualify through your credit, and you have to qualify through your income. And now, since everything's being checked and it's being reviewed, there could be time delays. So in a lot of cases, loans should close in 30 days. A lot of times they're taking more than 30 days because of the verifications or the re-verifications. Or if there's a question, anything that's a question mark is going to be investigated. Whereas in the past, it might have been able to have been waved away by just somebody writing a note, writing an answer to something, or just some underwriter just waiving the requirement.
So because of that, do you think then it's more difficult? Is that the impact that it's having on potential buyers, that it's taking longer and they have to have all their paperwork in order?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely taking longer, and the impact is that they have to answer the tough questions. I mean, they have to qualify by income. They have to present a lot of documentation, and they want to, you want to have all that gathered ahead of time, and everything must be verified, and therefore it's taking much more time than it was before. And also the frustration that a lot of borrowers are having is that they're having to answer. If they have a little glitch on their credit, or how is their overtime figured, or how is their bonus figured? I mean, those questions are really being delved into now by underwriters, by mortgage.
So Gary, it seems like there's less banks that are lending now just because you see less people buying houses. Is everyone lending?
In theory, everyone's lending. Under the Obama administration, all banks should be lending. In reality, there are banks, some banks that are more interested in lending on mortgages than others, but eventually all the loans wind up with a government-sponsored entity or some government guarantee. So they all wind up somehow in the same big pool of money.
And let me ask you, are the rules the same now when you're refinancing as well? Are they strict as well, that you need to present the same type of paperwork?
Yes. Whether you're financing a property in a purchase or you're refinancing a property, the requirements are generally the same. I mean, you're basically going to have to provide them 2 years of tax returns, 2 years of W-2s, all your bank statements, 2 months of your bank statements, and all that's going to be reviewed. Your tax returns are going to be compared to the IRS's. They're going to get a copy of the IRS, what you sent to the IRS, and they're going to compare it and see if there's any differences. And of course, you're going to have to explain any differences, so you're better off not to have any differences, of course.
So any ideas when the financing market will return to normal, or is this the new normal, like everyone seems to be? It's like the coin phrase right now, the new normal.
Well, I don't think. Well, what we had 3, 4, 5 years ago wasn't normal. I don't think we'll ever return to that. We've spoken in the past about pyramid schemes and about bubbles and whatever. We had a bubble, and I think what's going to happen is we're going to have something that's normal, and we'll consider it normal, but it's going to have underwriting criteria. You're not going to have the go-go years that you had in the past. Probably that's going to run. We're going to be in a unstable market probably for another 3 to 5 years, and it's not going to be a smooth, fluid financial market. But eventually, people will come back, be interested in investing in mortgages and whatever on a much larger basis, and we'll have a much fluid market than we have now.
Well, we'll see how that goes. Thank you so much, Gary, for being here. We appreciate it. And with afternoon showers rolling in, mosquitoes are definitely making their presence known. Rodolfo Roman has that story and others on City News.
Belkis, when visiting the historic Merrick house, you can't help it but to admire the beautiful garden that surrounds me. Well, actually, it's going to have an addition that's going to make it even more eye-catching thanks to a city group. Visitors taking a trip to the historic Merrick house will soon encounter a life-size statue of the original designer, Althea Merrick. The Coral Gables Garden Club has raised funds to help install a statue of city founder George Merrick's mother. It will be placed in the garden area. Here is the sketch of the statue, which will give visitors an opportunity to sit next to Althea and take a picture. The artwork will show her sitting down on a bench with a fruit basket next to her. The statue is slated to be installed in October to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the house.
She was George's mother, and she had designed the house, which is 100 years old this year, and it's an important thing for the city and for the house.
A neighborhood park is making headlines after a major upgrade. The new and improved Riviera Park opened its doors to the public. The recreational area located at 6611 Umuri Street went through a demolition and removal of concrete walkways, new electric poles and site furniture, fencing, landscaping, irrigation system, and a new playground with synthetic flooring. The park also has a large gazebo providing plenty of shade. Summer is here, and so comes the rainy season in Coral Gables, bringing unpleasant and pesky mosquitoes. The Mosquito Control Division of the Miami-Dade County Public Works Department has begun inspections and treatment of known breeding areas by conducting ground and aerial spraying as needed. Residents can help the cause by making sure to throw away tin cans, old tires, buckets, and any containers that hold water. And you can also wear some mosquito repellent just in case you go outside. Here's another tip to avoid getting bitten by mosquitoes. Prevent going outdoors at dusk and dawn. Now, for information, visit www.miamidade.gov. For Coral Gables Now, Rodolfo Roman. Back to you, Belkis.
There is still much more to come on Coral Gables Now. Did you know city founder George Merrick had the whole city planned out, right down to the type of trees that should be planted? Learn more about his vision next. The Coral Gables Museum is just months from officially opening its doors. We'll talk to the man who helped make the dream a reality.